You wake up every morning trusting one thing completely, your own mind. You trust what you see, what you remember, what you feel, what you think is true. Here's the problem. Your brain is not a camera. It's not a recorder. It is an editor, a storyteller, a shortcut machine. And it has been rewriting your reality every single day without asking your permission. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 ways your brain actively lies to you, backed by real psychology, and what those lies are costing you. By the end, you will never look at your own thoughts the same way again. Subscribe, because this is one of the most important things I've ever covered. Lie number 1. Your memories are accurate records of what happened. They are not. Every time you remember something, your brain is not replaying a video. It is reconstructing the event from scratch, and every reconstruction changes the original. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent decades proving this. In her studies, simply asking a leading question about a past event caused people to remember things that never happened. She could implant entirely false memories just by changing the wording of a single sentence. Your most vivid memories are the ones most likely to be edited. Every argument you've ever replayed in your head, every conversation you were certain you remember, word for word, your brain rewrote those. It filled in gaps with what made sense, with what fit your existing beliefs, with what protected your ego. The memory felt real. That's the lie. Lie number 2. You make decisions using logic and reason. You believe that when you choose something, you weigh the options, consider the facts, and arrive at the most rational conclusion. You don't. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio studied patients with damage to the emotional centers of their brains. They had perfect logic, and they could not make a single decision. Without emotion, the rational brain freezes. Your feelings are not the opposite of good decisions. They are the engine driving every single one. The reasoning comes after, as a story you tell yourself to justify what you already wanted. This is called post hoc rationalization. You decide, then you reason. Your brain runs the decision in about 300 milliseconds, often before you're consciously aware of it. The explanation you give yourself and others, written afterward. The jury was never deliberating. The verdict was in before you started. Lie number 3, you see the world as it actually is. Your brain processes 11 million bits of information per second. You are consciously aware of roughly 40 to 50 of them. Your brain is not showing you reality. It is showing you a heavily filtered, compressed, edited highlight reel that it has decided is relevant to your survival. This is called inattentional blindness. In the famous gorilla experiment, people counting basketball passes completely missed a person in a gorilla suit walking through the scene. Not because they weren't looking, because their brain decided it wasn't relevant. What you don't notice is not absent. Your brain just chose not to show it to you. Your experience of reading a room, trusting your gut, knowing what someone meant, all of it is happening on a dramatically incomplete picture. You are making confident judgments about a world your brain has already filtered down to 0.0004% of available information. Lie number 4. You know why you do the things you do. When someone asks you why you made a choice, you give them a reason. It sounds plausible, it feels true, but in most cases you have no access to the actual cause. Psychologists Nisbett and Wilson ran experiments where people were influenced by hidden factors, position of objects, prior priming words, unconscious cues, and when asked to explain their choices, gave completely different explanations, confident, detailed, and entirely wrong. The brain confabulates. It fills the gap between unconscious cause and conscious experience with a story that makes you sound like a reasonable person. The next time you're certain you know exactly why you did something, why you feel the way you do, or why you made that particular choice, ask yourself one question. Am I reporting a cause, or am I writing a story that makes sense of an effect I don't fully understand? Lie number 5. Your first impression is a reliable read of someone. Psychologist Nalini Ambady found that people form judgments about others in as little as 1/10 of a second, and those judgments, formed before a single word is spoken, are extraordinarily sticky. This is called the halo effect. One positive or negative trait, attractiveness, a firm handshake, a familiar accent, bleeds into your judgment of everything else about that person. Your brain builds a coherent story from one data point and then filters everything through it. The first impression isn't a reading. It's a template your brain forces all future information to fit. The dangerous part is not the snap judgment. It's that your brain never tells you it made one. You think you're evaluating the evidence, You're actually defending a verdict that was already in. Lie number 6. You would behave differently in those famous psychology experiments. Stanley Milgram's obedience study, the bystander effect, the Stanford prison experiment. When people hear about these, the near universal response is, I would be the one who stood up. I would not have obeyed. I would have helped. The research says otherwise, reliably, across decades, across cultures. The situational forces that shape those participants, authority, social pressure, diffusion of responsibility, shape you too. The error is called the fundamental attribution error. You explain others' behavior by their character and your own by your circumstances. You assume you are the exception. You are the data. This isn't a comfortable lie, but it's one of the most important to let go of. Because the people who believe they would always do the right thing are often the least prepared to actually do it. Humility about your behavior under pressure is not weakness. It is accuracy. Lie number 7. How you feel right now is an accurate reflection of how things actually are. When you're in a bad mood, the world looks worse. Your problems feel bigger. People seem less trustworthy. Your future looks darker. And none of that is real. It is your emotional state painting everything it touches. Psychologists call this mood-congruent cognition. Your brain preferentially recalls memories that match your current emotional state, pays attention to information that confirms it, and generates predictions that align with it. A bad mood literally makes bad things more visible. A good mood hides them. Neither is the full picture. Both feel absolutely certain. Before making any major decision about a relationship, a job, a message you're about to send, ask yourself, am I seeing clearly or am I seeing through a filter I haven't noticed yet? 7 lies, all running inside your head right now, silently, without your consent. This doesn't make you broken, it makes you human. The brain didn't develop these patterns to deceive you, it developed them to keep you alive, fast, and functional. But knowing they exist, that's the difference between being lived by your brain and actually living. If this changed how you think about your own mind, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Next video, the psychology of why you can't say no. The connection to what we just covered is more direct than you'd expect. I'll see you there.